It's time, man. It's time. We talked about it. We called him DEI Captain America after he pissed off his constituents. And yeah, man, it's time to finally talk about this movie. Um, this is a spoiler-free review, as you can see. When we get to the spoiler review, I'll mark it off just like I marked off for Invincible in the prior episode. And honestly, I kind of want to start with you. I want to get your perspective on it because I gave you a little bit of how I felt about it, but I didn't hear really back from you after you saw the film. I didn't even know you saw the film until you let me know. So, how did you feel going into this hoodie, or coming out of it rather? And yeah, just give me your perspective, brother.
So honestly, bro, I feel like um, you did share a message after you went and saw it before I went and seen it. And that definitely helped me kind of appreciate it in a different light. And I say appreciate as far as like ingesting the film as a whole, not
Yeah.
necessarily loving it or anything like that.
Hmm.
But man, I mean, I feel like in typical Marvel fashion, um, I feel like the future implications carried the film more so than what was going on in the actual film, if that makes sense to a lot of people.
Okay.
Um, what could be coming in the future could be phenomenal, but as far as like a standalone project, I thought it was all right, man. I thought there were a lot of themes that were very relevant to the times that we are in now. I felt like there was a lot of monologues and speeches that was made that also can be very relevant to what we are going through now in this country.
Hmm.
Um, Overall, I thought it was a solid project. I didn't think it was phenomenal, but I didn't think it was bad. I know a lot of people were bashing it and whatnot, but there's probably obvious
Yeah.
reasons why they were.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, as far as the actors, I mean, I think all the actors who were the focal point of the film, as you see the big five you got up on the screen right now, I thought they all did a phenomenal job in their roles. Um, so overall, it wasn't one of those I walked out of feeling like I got cheated out of $10 or whatever. I felt like it was money well spent, and I'm just looking forward to what we got coming in the future.
Okay. Um, so your analysis of it, I'm with you on what you're saying. And I kind of echo some of the sentiments that you have about it. It took me days of really digesting this film to
Hmm.
figure out or sort through my feelings. Since
Right.
this is a spoiler-free review, I'll make this part brief.
Gotcha.
Um, my issues with this movie are not film issues. My issues with this movie are MCU issues.
Hmm.
Once I was able to separate the two and just take this film for what it was, I liked it. I did. It
Right.
was a lot that I liked about it. Anthony Mackie is not Chris Evans. Steve Rogers, as they've said so many times in the trailers, is not it's not who Sam Wilson is. Sam Wilson is his own man. He's his own Captain America. This
Facts.
kind of started with Captain America. I mean, I'm sorry, it ended up being named Captain America and the Winter Soldier, but Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the TV show, does a good job to me cementing his place as to why he was chosen by Steve. And
Hmm.
that psychotherapy session that he does when he's talking to soldiers and he relates to them it plays out at one point in this movie. It actually plays out a couple times in this movie.
Right.
And he's just Captain America in a different way. He's not the Captain America I'm used to, but he alright with me in terms of him being Captain America.
Right.
Harrison Ford's turn as Thunderbolt Ross was great. Harrison Ford showed up to work. He didn't phone this in. He showed up to work. He gave a great performance as a man who is still haunted by his sins and who he was before. He did a great job of filling in for William Hurt, who also, I mean, if he was still alive, I think he would have filled this role out very well. William Hurt is a great actor in his own right. But Harrison Ford does a great job of making Thunderbolt Ross his own. And the struggles that he has, you know, both internally and externally, play out very well based on his acting chops, really. So yeah, in that regard, again, he showed up to work. Giancarlo Esposito, or John, they call him Giancarlo. I've heard Giancarlo. I believe it's Giancarlo Esposito. You can tell his scenes were some of those scenes that were what do they call it? Reshoots. You can tell his part is added in. And you can also tell there's a plot line that was supposed to be there that they took out. You can.
Right.
But overall, everything fits pretty well. The new Falcon I could have kind of done without. Like, he's kind of annoying at some point. But pretty funny. For the most part, he was pretty funny. So that was cool. And it does tap into different plot lines that we've seen over the MCU. We may not have seen in a long time. The obvious one being the corpse of Tiamat in the middle of the Indian Ocean. We finally got somebody in the MCU to acknowledge that.
Right.
I think it was acknowledged like one time in a TV show. I want to say it was Miss Marvel, maybe, that they acknowledged it once, but they kind of moved on from it. But yeah, the giant being that's in the middle of the Indian Ocean, they finally decided to acknowledge it. But the one that I didn't realize how deep they were going to go into a movie that came out 17 years ago before Marvel Studios was absorbed by Disney in the first place, with The Incredible Hulk. I didn't realize we were getting a sequel to it. So my overall gripes with the film, now from a film standpoint, it's from an MCU standpoint, I don't understand why this was the film to make the Incredible Hulk sequel out of. Like,
right.
This story is Captain America solving an issue that's more of a Hulk issue than it is American, so to speak. It's a very kind of grounded Captain America situation, whereas the Winter Soldier had bigger implications with the whole Hydra infiltration thing, and then Civil War had even bigger implications because it dismantled the Avengers. This is on a smaller scale, and I'm not sure if it's a conflict that necessarily represented the compromisation of America so much as it represented the compromisation of Thunderbolt Ross. He is the center of this movie. This is a Hulk movie by every stretch. But that's kind of whatever. I'm just not sure this was the time to kind of get into that whole story, whatever the case may be. In the spoiler review, we can talk more about it. But I actually had a better, I'm not going to say a better because that's kind of presumptive of me, but I had a plot idea that maybe they could have used that to kind of push forward things in the MCU. And actually, I'm going to revisit that in the MCU part of our discussion.
U-GeekTV.